Good evening, everyone. I'd like to open our meeting with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the Near North District School Board serves communities located on the traditional territories of many Indigenous nations. We are grateful to live, learn, and work on the lands of the Anishinaabe, specifically the Nipissing First Nation, Wissahickon, Shawanaga, Magnetaquan, Doquis, Henvey Inlet, and Moose Deer Point First Nations, as well as the traditional territory of the Métis Nation of Ontario. This land is covered by several treaties, including the Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850. Treaty agreements were intended to be based on mutual respect, peace, and friendship. We recognize the enduring presence and contributions of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples across Turtle Island. We commit ourselves to the ongoing work of reconciliation and to fostering respectful relationships with Indigenous communities across the West, East, and North regions of the Near North District School Board. Let this acknowledgement serve as a reminder of our shared responsibility to honor the land, the treaties, and the people who have cared for it since time immemorial. And I'm very thankful that this Parent Involvement Committee did the work last year to collaborate to develop this land acknowledgement. It's meaningful in that it incorporates all of the First Nations as well as the regions across our school board. And just to add to it, I've spent a number of days now in interviews, but today was especially exciting as we had the opportunity to meet with a variety of Indigenous educators in support of Board Action Plan for Indigenous Education Priorities. And the interviews were especially heartwarming. At the end, I felt that we had made such significant progress. We always talk about, various ways to incorporate and involve members of the communities. And these interviews just demonstrated to us that we have allies as well as local First Nation partners and educators who are completely a part of the work that we wish to move forward and leading that work. So anyways, I wanted to share that because it's still sitting in my heart as a really wonderful place. And I'm pleased to open our meeting with that land acknowledgement and those words. So miigwech, everyone, and welcome.
Thank you. Always so wonderful to hear. All right. So with that, I will officially call our meeting to order at 6:06 p.m. And we can pull up the attendance poll. I think we have 12 again, which is great.
Yeah, if you just wouldn't mind taking a minute just to, we would like to take attendance. We usually wait till after call to order just so that we can capture who is in our meeting and so that we can move forward with that and we can reach out to those that have missed or share the transcripts. Stephanie, are you able to pull up the poll?
Yes, I'm working on it. Sorry, it is not moving quickly right now. But I'm really hopeful that it'll just take a few more minutes, or
okay. If it doesn't,
hopefully we can less than that.
If it doesn't, we can certainly add it to the chat.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll start with mine for now.
If you'd like to just add your attendance in the chat. If you are a parent, superintendent, ministry representative, an administrator, a presenter, or an administrator with the board, that would be fantastic if you can add. Oh, there we go. There it is.
Fabulous. Thank you. So we'll give folks a moment or two.
Kyla, should I just select guest speaker?
You can, Amy, if you'd like. Okay. You fall under many categories, so it's up to you. Thank you.
Yeah.
The best fit.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you, everyone. And next on our agenda is welcome remarks from S.O. Gray, if there's anything you'd like to add to the wonderful land acknowledgement.
Sure. I would like to say a couple of things. Thank you so much. Well, of course, it's always really wonderful to see all of you as we come together for our final Parent Involvement Committee meeting of the year. I really want to take a moment to thank all of you for your ongoing commitment and contributions throughout the year. Your work, both here and joining us in these meetings, as well on some of our subcommittees, including the Pro Grant Committee, has been incredibly meaningful and has seriously made a difference. It's been a wonderful opportunity for us to connect and collaborate. And I was reflecting as I was thinking about what I might say. I apologize in advance. Both Supervisor Bell and Director McJanet are not able to be here. They send their regrets. They would love to be here, but unfortunately they are unable. But I was thinking about our first meetings when we had the great pleasure of having the Honorable Paul Calandra join us. And, you know, the feelings of nervousness and apprehension that we had as we went into that first meeting, and how far we've come this year. It's been a year of turmoil, and I honestly, it makes me feel emotional. And I just want to say thank you to everybody in this committee for being there for us and supporting us throughout this work. I know our attendance is a little bit lower than we had hoped for tonight, and has been over the year. And we were just chatting earlier before we started the meeting that there's lots going on, as obviously we've been waiting for this beautiful weather and all of the activities, outdoor activities, to start up. But we have had a lot of change, and I'm just so thankful for those of you who stayed consistent with us throughout the year. I also want to send a special thank you to the School Advisory Council chairs and principals for your leadership and dedication in supporting parent engagement this year. I have had the opportunity to receive emails and pictures and personalized messages from families and from staff to say thank you. And of course, I always redirect back because I didn't personally do any of the approving of this necessarily. But some of the events that have happened across the system this year have been especially exciting. And I really look forward to seeing what next year and the years to come will bring. So thank you for your dedication and support of that. It's truly appreciated. And I also just a quick thank you. I'm not sure that she's going to want it or not, but to Principal Kedlock and to Executive Assistant Stephanie Norrie for their leadership and guidance throughout this committee. I'm not sure. We might try to twist your arm, Kyla, to continue to support PIC moving forward. But it has been absolutely a pleasure to work with both of you. And Kyla, your leadership in this area has been especially incredible. So thank you so much for stepping in and doing this work. It's truly, truly appreciated.
Thank you.
That's all for me. Thank you. And good evening, everyone. And hope I'm looking forward to this meeting, of course.
Well, that's a wonderful way to start. So with that, we'll head on to the agenda approval. So the hope here is to have a mover and a seconder to accept the agenda as presented. So you can either come off mute, physically put a hand up, or use a hand emoji react.
Hi, it's Amanda Meehan, principal. I try to defer to parents, but I think we're pulling the load for our families this evening. Amanda Meehan, principal of Mapleview Public School. Happy to move.
Thank you. And do we have a seconder?
I can second.
Thank you. Wonderful. And all in favor? Okay, fabulous. So that motion is passed. And then next up is the approval of the minutes from the April 29th meeting. So again, here the hope is to have a mover and a seconder to accept the
Sorry, Stephanie, we don't have quorum to move the minutes. So if we could defer the minutes to perhaps our September meeting or October meeting, and we'll just make a note of that in our minutes. That would be fantastic.
However, if we do have enough people who are here, does anyone have any changes or adjustments that need to be made? I think they're okay. Great, fabulous. All right. So then I'll pass it to you, Principal Cadwell.
So As many of you are aware, the Near North District School Board always continues to focus on student achievement and well-being. And here with us this evening, we have wonderful presenters. We have Principal Rob Roy. He's principal of Summer School, who will be presenting learning opportunities for the summer. And we have Amy Bartlett, who will also be presenting from an elementary standpoint, the learning summer opportunities. And we have with us Lana St. Louis, who is our mental health lead, and she will be speaking on school mental health support. So welcome all three of you. And if we would like to start off with Rob, if you'd like to share, that would be fantastic.
Yes, and right before I start, Lana, are you talking about the program that we have going in the summer?
I am not, but you certainly can.
So I have a slide for it, but I was going to take it out if you were not, or if you were, so that'll work just fine. Okay, I'm going to attempt to share my screen and present in Teams, but I've never done this from PowerPoint before. We'll see. All right, can you see my screen? Yes, all right, here we go. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an overview of the summer school program for secondary. I'm going to walk through the range of opportunities that we have and that students will have access to this summer. We offer a wide variety of programming, and there's many opportunities across our district to students and also to students that are outside of our district. Our goal is to provide flexible pathways for students to earn credits, re-engage with school if possible, and explore some areas of interest. Programming is designed to support both academic success and student well-being when possible. Registration is coordinated through school guidance departments for the most part. All e-learning courses are managed through a provincial PRISM system. For in-person programming, the NNDSB students are registering through their guidance departments. Out-of-board students use an NNDSB registration form online by contacting NNDSB to get that link or showing up at in-person programming. For example, Toros or Theatre Outreach on Stage, we had students attending the various auditions and such. One key thing to note is the deadline for our summer school registrations is June 19th, and so it's coming up. First, I'll be speaking about online credit courses. So as you can see, they run from June 29th to July 4th, and there is a very wide range of courses. We have currently 44 different unique online options that we are offering to students across our region and potentially to students in other parts of the province. They are all asynchronous, giving students flexibility in how they complete their work and allowing them to have jobs and do other things during the summer. Students are expected to connect with their teachers daily and stay on track. We also ensure equity of access to our NNDSB students by providing devices for those who need them. The online summer school also has different supports available, including an Indigenous grad coach, resource teachers, and educational assistants to support throughout the very quick-paced online courses. And our supports work with teachers to identify students who are struggling, and then we have our support staff connect and try and help those students in a variety of ways to try and help them navigate courses and content. In addition to the online offerings, we have a range of in-person experiential programs. These include things based in the arts, some athletics, some environmental learning, and re-engagement programming. The programs are designed to increase engagement if possible and provide hands-on experiences for students. Our first in-person that I'll speak about is Theatre Outreach on Stage, or Toros. It's a program that has been running this is the 39th year, so next year will be a big one. Currently this year we have 70 students or more than 70 students registered so far participating in either the performing arts part or possibly tech or backstage work or costume items. And so there's a very wide range of potential activities for those students. And they are all working towards a full theatrical production of Pippin. The program started in mid-May and it'll run through to early August with performances August 5th to 9th at West Ferris Secondary School. Students will earn credits through the course of the program. It's very engaging. It's super exciting. I've been at some of the rehearsals and everybody is pumped and having a lot of fun already. Our next in-person course that I'll talk about is our basketball and volleyball focused courses. I think this will be the 4th year that they have run their sports focused programs hosted this year at West Ferris, and they're open to current grade 8 students up to grade 12 students. It's 2 separate courses. Students can only do one. They focus on skill development, gameplay, overall athletic improvement. Students will train daily, and there's also an online component to do with healthy living, and they will earn a phys ed credit at the end of it. These are very high energy programs and draw participation from boards across the North Bay area. We also are continuing our partnership with the Canadian Ecology Centre. Last year, programming was impacted by the massive storm that devastated Samuel de Champlain Provincial Park, and so they were not able to run. They are back up and running, and the park is open this year. I don't know if anyone has traveled through yet, but it's something to see, definitely. These courses are 2-week live-in environmental learning experiences. This year they are offering a little bit less than they have previously, but they are offering geography, various science credits, and a biology credit as well. And it's a very unique, immersive experience, and people love it and usually continue, which is why there is a little bit less this year, because last year's cohort didn't run, and so people aren't signed up as much as they would, but we'll continue to grow it. We also have a summer re-engagement program. It's designed for students in grade 8 to 12 who might be struggling with attendance, mental health concerns, or overall engagement with school. The program is going to run from June 29th to July 24th. That says 4th, but that is incorrect. From about 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. daily is what we think the schedule will be. Students will work towards credit recovery, if there's any credits that they need to work on that they haven't earned, or else they might be able to get a GLE course, civics or careers, or other courses. And while working towards the credits within the classes, students can work on building social emotional learning skills, along with developing skills to work independently and other learning strategies for success in school. Some of the supports that this program will have is there'll be teachers, an on-site mental health clinician support. There is potential for some parent coaching, and transportation should be provided throughout most of the North Bay region from what I have learned so far. We also are offering in-person co-op, and so these are always very well-attended programs. Students from across the district are engaged in in-person placements across a variety of sectors. Students can earn 1 or 2 credits based on the number of placement hours they complete. Some of those students will be lucky enough to be paid while they're doing those experiences, because if they have a summer job, then it might count for a co-op for them. Priority is generally given to students that are working towards specialist high skills majors certifications, or that have specific graduation requirements. Programs support hands-on learning and real-world experience. There is also a dual credit program delivered in partnership with Canadore College. Students earn both a high school credit and a college credit. Program runs from July 13th to 17th, and all costs, including tuition, materials, and transportation, are covered. The program this year is focusing on outdoor adventure recreation, and students are exploring both theory and hands-on learning, including adventure and environmental education, therapeutic uses of the outdoors, and other items. I wish I could sign up for it. Students will develop practical skills and plan outdoor learning experiences using Canadore's Trail Network, and it's a strong pathway that helps students transition into post-secondary opportunities. We also have the opportunity for grade 8s to do a reach ahead credit, and this can be a variety of credits. There currently is a GLE course that is on offer, and if we get enough students, that will run, and in that course students will learn learning strategies, some literacy and numeracy, and it helps to build confidence, develop independence, and help students transition into high school. There is also the opportunity for grade 8s to participate in various e-learning courses that might be grade 9 courses, or a lot of students end up taking grade 10 civics and careers as well as a reach ahead credit. That is essentially the extent of the secondary summer school offering. For more info, you can reach out to me, robert.roy@nearnorthschools.ca, or the summer school secretary. Information's on the screen there, and that QR code will also bring you to the Near North's summer school website, where all of this information is on there as well. Any questions? All right. Well, thank you for letting me speak, and I appreciate everyone listening. I don't know how to stop sharing my screen though.
Thank you so much for joining us, Rob. I know we were back and forth, but I really appreciate you taking the time to share with our PIC committee. Really, really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I am just going to hit the leave button because that might stop this from sharing, because I don't know what else to do. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye,
Thank
Rob.
you. We have Amy Bartlett Gibson, who's with us. She is our summer learning coordinator, and she's here to speak about the elementary summer learning program. Amy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It is absolutely wonderful to be able to talk about this summer learning program. So as Kyla had mentioned, I'm the coordinator for the summer learning program, and this is my third year as the coordinator. And I'm very excited to share with you about it. So this year we have 3 different camps that we're going to be running across our system. We have one at Mapleview, one at Sundridge, and one in Parry Sound. So we try and cover all of the areas of the district fairly equitably. And the camps run up Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to noon for 3 consecutive weeks, starting June 29th to July 17th. And we primarily focus on students in grades 1 to 6. Our structures, we have 1 program coordinator, which is me. This year we have 3 lead teachers, so 1 at each site. And then 13 instructors or educators based out of each site. And we really try and work towards trying to have a really high ratio of teacher to student. So this year we're aiming for between 1 to 7 or 1 to 5, somewhere in that range, adults to student participation. We also have in the past, we've had 2 to 3 EAs and 2 to 3 social emotional learning coaches. Thank you, Lana, for your support on that. And so in collaboration with special education, as well as, the special education group, they support some of those positions. And we're really hopeful. We haven't done that hiring yet, but we're very hopeful that we can have those positions again this year. Our participants, as I mentioned, are in grades 1 to 6, and we draw in about 20 elementary schools across the Near North District School Board. And this year we have about 100 participants. In the Mapleview site, which is one of our locations in the north, or our location in the north, we have about 40 participants registered. Sundridge, we have 30. Parry Sound, we have 30. And the summer learning program focuses primarily on math and literacy. So often what the instructors will do is they'll have the first part of the morning devoted to literacy learning, and the second part of the morning devoted to math learning. And this year so far, we are full, and in the north we have a very long wait list as well, which is very exciting. We also provide a lot of professional learning for staff, and I think that's one of the draws in what keeps staff coming back year over year is they find the professional learning that they do very rewarding. So we have 3 professional learning days, June 16th, 17th, and 18th. The first day is focused on math. The second, and that's delivered by Melissa Petty, our math coordinator. The second day is literacy professional learning, delivered by the literacy team. And then the third day, we have a staff meeting that's led by Stephen Krause and myself. And then we also try and embed learning within the camp. I'll often just touch base with the instructors and see what the needs are throughout the camp and what they're interested in learning about. And then I'll usually run at least one session. I think this year, Melissa Petty is going to run a session on math as well. And then the other piece that I haven't mentioned is last year, Lana did some great training with our social emotional learning coaches as well in advance of the camp starting. So we have a really robust team that supports the students at this camp, which I think we're really, really proud of. We've placed a high priority on nutrition and well-being. The students are provided a nutritious snack daily. And we have partnered also with Kathy Chippa from Community Living North Bay, and she graciously donates gift cards so that we can purchase really great snacks for the students. And so she also often reaches out to us and is like, oh, I just really want to support this wonderful program every year. So that's a really nice piece about the camp, and the kids really look forward to the great food that we serve them. In terms of equity and inclusion, something that's really important, although we don't necessarily advertise, we try our best to provide transportation for students where accessing the camp might otherwise be a barrier if they didn't have transportation. So especially with it being a half day, and we find in our East region, this is particularly important for students to be able to access camp. So oftentimes we'll provide either a bus or a taxi. So if parents indicate the need, we will do our best to support them. And then our social emotional learning coaches, as I mentioned, the training that Lana did with them last year, they provide a really important role in developing self-regulation or skills with students. And as well as just giving them a breakout space. Something that's very important about summer learning program is it can create an opportunity for students who may not otherwise fit in a normal school setting. Summer learning program can sometimes create a shift in mindset for them, in part because we're so well staffed, in part because we have so many different adults on hand to meet the needs of students, that often summer learning program can be really transformative for students who wouldn't otherwise have maybe as much of a positive experience in school. And that's something that really the educators who participate in summer learning program really feel that on a day-to-day basis, which I think keeps them coming back. We try to do as much community engagement as possible. So in the past 2 years, we've partnered with our Indigenous education leads within the school board, and we've offered Indigenous programming. OSC and Albany, 2 Indigenous leaders within the board, have done some phenomenal programming with our students. Last year, they did a strawberry beading activity that also was based on a read aloud and some oral storytelling as well, and that integrated some math and literacy into the activity. Previously, the previous year in 2024, we had Indigenous author Kelsey Borgford came to read aloud her story, and then did some writing programming with students afterwards. So that was really great. So we try to engage with community partners as much as possible. We've also partnered with Science North in the past, and they have come to run some either virtual or in-person programming. And we also try and get various community helpers involved. Often the police department will be called in to, sometimes they'll fly their drones overhead. Sometimes the fire department shows up at South River. Last year, the fire department was right across the street, so the students and walked over and visited the fire department. And then they actually brought a water truck over, and it was a super hot day. So they were kind of shooting the hose across the schoolyard, which was really exciting for the kids. So, and people are so kind and generous to just share their time with the kiddos in this camp. We try and get students outside as much as possible. As I mentioned, we do focus on math and literacy, but we really take a lot of pride and put a lot of effort into the camp feeling camp-like. That's really important. I think that's in part what creates the engagement that we have from families and students, and we have a lot of students who want to come back year over year because it's fun. And so we're quite crafty about embedding learning and fun as much as possible in the camp. What does our literacy learning look like? We initially, our reach outs to families start within the schools through administrators, literacy intervention teachers, and resource teachers, and they will help us to select the students for the camp. And in that process, also, they collect really important data that allows our teachers in the camp to be able to meet really specific learning needs that students have. And it allows us to really focus in on some of those skills. So, for example, some students might need some skill development on phonemic awareness or handwriting or alphabetic knowledge or fluency. And so that data that we collect in literacy helps us to really pinpoint those skills. And we often see really great gains from students, even over a short 3-week period, because the instructors are really trying to focus in on specific skills to give. We often talk about, choose one instructional nudge and let's see if we can really build the students' skills in that area. And then we do the same thing for math. Melissa Petty's math coaches do a great job of collecting data in advance. So the instructors in that handoff know exactly what skills students need to work on. We take a lot of pride also in providing a lot of small group instruction. And that's something that I've really encouraged the educators and instructors in the program to focus on because we have such a high student to teacher ratio. It's a beautiful opportunity for teachers to team teach, to get really precise with their support for students, but also to be able to support students in small group, which is primarily how students are learning through summer learning program. And then lastly, I just have some really nice testimonials. The last 2 years, we've done a survey with both staff and parents at the end, and the feedback has been really, really positive. The staff really talk about it being a unique experience to be able to work and collaborate with other teachers in a way that they don't have the opportunity to do in the classroom, in the school environment. They talk about the professional learning and their own individual growth. And they just talk about the growth of the students because the students are so incredibly supported. They just feel like their work is really validating across the 3 weeks. And then family testimonials have also been really positive. Parents are often kind of asking literacy intervention and resource teachers in advance, when's the summer learning program? Is it going to run again? And can my child be a part of it? And they talk a lot about their children's growth across the program and just how their children are very excited to go every day, and how it's been a positive mind shift for their children. So those are all the pieces I wanted to share about summer learning program. It's wonderful, and we're really grateful that we have this wonderful program at North District School Board. And I haven't mentioned this, but it also, families don't have to pay to go to this program, which again removes barriers for them to be able to participate. That's an important piece. Mm-hmm. And I'd be happy to take any questions if anyone has any questions.
I have a couple questions, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So speaking as a parent who doesn't understand necessarily how some of these decisions are made, and my daughter is young, so I also don't have context from previous years. I have two questions. One is, you said grades 1 through 6 for summer programs, is it like the outgoing grade that they count as, or the incoming grade that they count as?
Yeah, we're fairly flexible.
Oh, okay.
We try and keep it grades 1 to 6, but oftentimes families will reach out and say, especially if it's a family of 3 and one of the children's SK going to grade 1, it's so much easier if all 3 kids can just go to the camp together. So sometimes we make exceptions. Yeah. And then same likewise in grade 6, if a student's grade 6 going to grade 7, we've had grade 7 students and they just love the camp and they want to come back, and we're not going to say no to them.
That's pretty cool. And then you mentioned a little bit on like how some students are like identified as like maybe being great candidates. How does that happen? Like, how do families register and all that jazz?
Yeah, so we have like a flyer that we send out, a digital flyer that we send out to schools, and it goes to administrators, resource teachers, and literacy intervention teachers. And we ask them to discuss with their team students who have a particular need in literacy or math. And math, usually both or either or. And so that's our initial, we kind of have 2 waves that we do. And the first wave really tries to prioritize students who would benefit from additional learning opportunities across the summer.
That's really cool. I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for your questions.
Of course.
Are there any other questions? Amy, thank you for joining us. You know, it makes me so proud to be part of this board, to see all of the wonderful opportunities that students have to achieve and to excel and to learn. And, you know, between Rob's presentation and your presentation and what's happening over the summer, learning just never stops, which is fantastic. So thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you can stay for Lana's presentation, because I know coming up she's going to be talking about mental health supports. But thank you so much. And all the work that you do, it is appreciated, not only from, you know, us here at the board as administrators, but from parents and students. The true impact is phenomenal. So thank you.
Thank you, Kyla.
Lana, thank you. You have joined us so many times throughout the years. Thank you for joining us once again. We're looking forward to your presentation.
I know. I'm like, this feels very familiar. I'm like, am I saying anything different than I have before? Who knows? All right, so thank you for inviting me. I'm just going to give an overview of the mental health program, what our supports look like throughout the year, how you can access them, and what they will hopefully look like this summer, pending filling positions. So, let's see. We have a couple of documents that guide our program development and what we do. So one of them is PPM 169, Student Mental Health, and this is a document that comes from the Ministry of Education that outlines 11 components of a school mental health program. And so everything we do in designing our program comes around that, and that is available online if you Google that. There's also Right Time, Right Care, and this is a document that was created between School Mental Health Ontario and the equivalent partner that works with the Child and Youth Mental Health Agencies, so an agency like HANDS. And they created this vision of a cohesive, responsive system of care for children and youth, collaborating between schools and community agencies so that all kids can have get their needs met with the right services at the right time. So within a school system, the main role of schools and child and youth mental health are mental health promotion, early identification of students who may be in need of intervention and supporting them, providing prevention and early intervention, and then the pathways to, from, and through more intensive community services. So we know that to impact mental health and well-being, we need to start early, and we want to build their knowledge and skills in places of hope and belonging. We can help students to gain agency through schools, and there's so much we can do to promote mental health and prevent mental illness. We want to empower them with knowledge and skills and need to take care of their own wellness. And we want to build a community of support around them so that it is not just a mental health professional or a parent that is providing support to this child. We have a whole group of people that is helping them. So we provide a tiered intervention model, and the bulk of our work lies in the bottom tier, which is the foundations of a mentally healthy school. This is what is good for all students. So creating these welcoming and inclusive environments in schools where we partner with families and community agencies to wrap around children, and we embed mental health promotion and literacy right into the curriculum. The mental health professionals in our board, our mental health program, we provide our intervention at the tier 2 and the tier 3, where we're doing prevention and early intervention for some students who are starting to show emerging symptoms of mental illness. And then tier 3 is intensive intervention. So those are for the smaller numbers of students who are experiencing complex symptoms of mental illness. And our role is to connect them with community partners that can provide the level of intervention that they need, although we will support them along the way while they're waiting for services, or if they're just unable to access them or don't want to access them, we will still continue to provide a level of support. So at its core, a mentally healthy school and classroom is it's an environment where every student feels like they belong. And this is a shared responsibility. All school staff have a role to play in supporting these conditions. We know that mental health promotion and prevention can support students with their everyday wellness, their self-regulation, coping skills, and social skills, which will result in improvements in school conduct and student behavior. We know that students thrive when they feel safe and they feel like they belong, and that is something that we can all do to support. So what does our school mental health program look like? So we support student well-being and success at school through that 3-level tiered approach. And our goal is to support their mental health and well-being using short-term evidence-based strategies tailored to their needs. Most of our support is brief, typically involving up to 6 sessions focused on a specific goal. So we do have, limited resources. There's always more need than there are resources available. So one of the ways that we can make sure we're using what we have efficiently and effectively is using a brief model. And this allows us to provide intervention with the student for a set period of time and work with the teachers and families to support them in implementing the skills and strategies with the student, and then allowing the student time to practice, because the change isn't going to occur overnight. It occurs when we're embedding it into the daily environment. And then this allows us to then move to another child and provide the same intervention. We are always open for re-referral when the student has had opportunity to practice. If there needs to be some tweaking on it, so an additional need that is occurring. But this allows us to manage wait lists more efficiently than we had before. So at times our caseloads would get so huge that you would only have the opportunity to see a child once every 3 weeks, or you would have a child waiting on a wait list, and this is a better model to meet their needs. We're also, through doing this, we want to reduce the development of a dependency on a mental health support. So this is not a reality for people. We don't, outside of school in summers after graduation, you don't typically have free access weekly, every day to a mental health professional for everything that is going on in your life. We're trying to build a community of support around students so that they have a whole bunch of people to help them in their natural support system and using their own strengths that they have, because everybody's bringing strengths to the table. So we want to boost those up, bolster them, and help them to use it so that they're not becoming attached to one person as the primary person to support them. And then really in our context, we often really don't have the ability to do longer term work in a school system. As you're aware, we have a lot of snow days, so that disrupts sessions. The other thing we have is we've got fun days at school that come up. We have presentations that come up. There's all kinds of things that's disrupted. So this model works better around that. We do recognize that life events outside of school can impact a student's well-being, but service decisions are guided by their current level of functioning at school and their capacity to benefit from support. So what that means is, how are they doing at school? We're here to support their success here. So while they may be going through, we may be aware that parents have recently separated, and this is potentially a challenging time. But if they're doing quite well and not demonstrating any distress in the school environment, we would not be able to support developing skills to support well-being at school. That would become an external partner. And then their capacity to benefit from support is guided by the child. Because oftentimes we can see some students could benefit from some intervention support. But sometimes kids are not at a point where they're able to benefit in an individual environment. Sometimes they're so dysregulated that what we need to do is support capacity around them in their classroom environments, as opposed to trying to make them sit down and engage in an intervention that they're just not ready or capable to engage in at this point. So while we don't provide direct intervention for concerns that are primarily home or community-based, we recognize their impact. And so with family consent, we are able to assist them in connecting them to appropriate community services. So support for, say, high conflict divorce, domestic violence, or housing instability, sexual abuse, trauma. We know these things impact children, but the school environment is not the place for us to provide intervention, but we will help you to find resources in the community that will. Best practice is to not duplicate services that are already being provided, particularly for young children. It's confusing to have two professionals providing services for the same thing. So we don't duplicate services that's already occurring in the community. So if they're like either through hands or through private practitioners, we would not take on a referral to do the same thing. However, there might be some complementary school-based programming that we could do. So for example, perhaps they're working on treating anxiety, but the student also has some social skills development that could help. We could do a small social skills group for them. And it's just based on the individual student. We focus on one goal at a time. So we take input from parents, we take input from teachers and administration of what is going on with this child and their needs. So to figure out a goal for them. But at the end of the day, the child is going to drive what the goal is. This is what's going to get them to engage into it. So while it might not always look like the same goal that everybody else wants for them, what we're hoping is that we are teaching them skills that can be transferred to that same goal. This year we changed our model a bit. We shifted away from providing individual intervention for children under the age of 8. The research shows that young children benefit most from support delivered through a family-based approach. So rather than one-on-one counseling, we recommend a family-based approach, because we know that caregivers are the primary agents of change in a young child's life. And so this support is best provided by community services that specialize in working with families. So we will help to coordinate services for you. And so the children, they grow and change through consistent modeling and reinforcement by adults and caregivers. So mental health support must be integrated into their everyday routines and relationships, and it shouldn't be treated as a separate or occasional intervention, but a consistent and embedded component of a child's daily experience. So they do need consistent adult support to generalize and sustain newly acquired skills across different settings. So it's very difficult for a 6-year-old to take what we've taught them in a 20-minute session and then go off and implement that with very little support. We really need it integrated in their day-to-day lives. So this is why we've shifted our model to be more in line with what best practice intervention are for young kids. We still provide them with different types of intervention support, which I'll review here. So our tier 2 supports are provided by our mental health professionals. We have 2 categories. We have non-regulated mental health professionals. So they don't belong to a regulatory body like the Ontario College of Social Workers and Social Service Workers or the CRPO. They are accountable to their employer as opposed to accountable to a regulatory body. And this does limit some of the work that they can do. So best practice for them is we have them doing, we have child development counselors, which the common or more known title for them across the province in Canada would be child and youth workers or child and youth care practitioners. They focus on social emotional skill instruction through classroom programming, small group intervention, and one-on-one support. So again, a tier model of intervention. And they select from a menu of approved social emotional learning programming that we have purchased for them. So some of them is a licensing fee. For example, SNAP, Stop Now and Plan, which is an intervention for classrooms that helps to teach kids self-regulation strategies when you have acting out behaviors, kids who struggle with regulating anger. So it teaches them all these skills to support each other. Or we also have other ones that we just purchase, and they have all kinds of puppets and books and stuff. If you have young kids, you will be familiar with A Little Spot, which is one that they've been running a lot this year. And that teaches them the emotional identification, which is like the very basic foundational skill of social emotional learning. Our attendance counselors, they investigate chronic non-attendance up to age 18. And they collaborate with schools, families, and community agencies to meet student needs to support their return to school. So we recognize that there are all kinds of barriers that get in the way of kids being able to attend school, and their job is to figure out how we can work together as a community to try to break down some of those barriers to get them back into learning. In order for them to work with the students, they do have to be referred to them. That just runs under the Education Act. Their job is to investigate those chronic non-attendance. One of our top referral reasons for the mental health program is challenges with peer relationships. And so best practice models are that kids learn social skills best from other kids, not sitting in a room one-on-one with a really kind, caring adult who is paid to just be so warm and lovely. We really want them in small groups together, learning from each other, because that's where the challenges pop up in social skills. And then it provides us with these in vivo opportunities to provide intervention and support them in applying those skills. Our other group are the regulated mental health professionals who have a regulatory body. So we have mental health clinicians, which are made up of social workers and psychotherapists, and they provide brief individual psychotherapy, which is typically 4 to 6 sessions. There is a little bit of professional discretion, whereas if through assessment, we determined that the child could use a couple more sessions to help really bolster their skills, then we will do that. But it's very intentional. We don't just let them go for many, many sessions because we like them and enjoy the time with them. Whatever we're doing with them is intentional to build their skills and meet their needs. They provide case management, making sure that they're collaborating and coordinating with community partners. They do small group programming. A number of them are trained in Triple P parenting, where we coach parents individually. And sometimes they do classroom work because sometimes it just makes sense to get all the kids the same skills at the same time, if we're seeing a trend that's occurring. And they are trained in psychotherapy interventions like CBT or DBT or brief solutions focused therapy. Our brief services and intake workers, they are social service workers, and they support students age 12 and up. They're doing walk-in support at the high schools, doing a one-at-a-time session. So really it's, we're using brief solutions focused therapy to pull out the strengths of how they have done so well to this part, what has brought them to this point, and how can we just build those up to like, what is the problem right now and how can we address that? They do 4 to 6 sessions of a brisk model program as well, which is a training through School Mental Health Ontario. And again, they do classroom and small group programming. They have provided this year and last year Preventure. So Preventure is this program we're piloting for grade 8s, where the research demonstrates that it increases the age at which they first experiment with substances, and it reduces overall the amount of substances, both in like the number of types and the amount that they use at one time. And so this just teaches them coping strategies based on their personalities. So they are having lots of fun with that program. They've implemented it in a number of schools, as well as Healthy Relationships Plus is a strong focus of theirs. Our mental health clinicians, so Tier 3, remember that is just for the few, so it's primarily community, cultural, hospital intervention. Our role is to facilitate navigation to appropriate resources, and then we do provide support for them, as I mentioned, while they're on the wait list, or if they are unable or unwilling to access support. But we don't provide, we're not providing that deeper, longer term therapy. We're just like building on their strengths of how to support them in the moment with what their goals are. How do you get support? Well, students can approach any adult in any of our buildings, and they will facilitate getting them to the support. Parents can reach out to any of our staff, and again, they will help facilitate, get you to support. At the secondary level, kids can just walk in and access it themselves. We, for the most part, it's based out of guidance in most schools. At the elementary level, if school staff are noticing that your child could benefit from some support, then they will reach out to you and ask for permission to go to a consultation with the mental health team. And from there, we figure out what is the most appropriate support for the student's needs. And then depending on the age and the type of service, the mental health professional will reach out to the parents or guardians to review informed consent before they can start services. And then this summer, as you've heard from the other presentations, we're supporting a pilot project for re-engagement for students, as well as providing social emotional learning coaches. We are posting for a mental health clinician for the summer, so we are hopeful we're going to fill all these positions. And when we do, we'll be advertising for families of how they can access that mental health clinician. It will typically be virtual support, but during July, we have the opportunity to provide in person because we will be basing out of Laurentian Learning Center to support the other program. And that's all I got for you. Any questions?
I see some clapping, Lana. Lots of clapping. Any questions for Lana? Lana, thank you. One of the topics of interest that have been brought forward many, many times over from our parents is around the mental health and the need in our schools, as well at the provincial level. One of the topics of interest that continues to arise at the PIC, ministry provincial level is around the mental health. So it's great to see all of those supports that happen here at Near North Board, and it's because of all of the efforts and work that you do and your team does to be able to make sure that our students are being met where the need is, supporting our teachers in the Tier 1 and the Tier 2, and then moving forward from there. It's certainly, opens everybody's eyes at the need within our board and the increased demand for mental health supports in our province. So thank you so much for supporting, and we hope that there'll be a repeat in the presentation or as we move forward to next year, that we'll be able to tap on your shoulder again to share again with parents. We would like to, as you know, our minutes will be posted as well as the videos, and we are hoping that our administrators will share with their SAC chairs so that can be shared in our SAC meetings so that they have a wider understanding of the wonderful supports that take place in our schools and in our system. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I would venture to say that it's beyond myself and my staff, because the work that happens with the kids every day, from the frontline staff of the teachers, the EAs, the principals, the VPs, everybody's working together as best as we can to support the student well-being. So there's so much good stuff that's happening out there in our schools.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
all right, good night, everyone.
Thank you, Lana. So moving on, just quickly, our pro-grant initiatives, we are very proud, as we mentioned in the last meeting, I believe we provided funding for over 18 schools in our district. And actually, there was a speaker that was supposed to join us this evening. However, they're running their pro-grant parent engagement evening tonight. And so they weren't able to join us. However, with us today, we have our chair, our PIC chair, Stephanie Bergman, also the SAC chair here at Alliance, and she is just willing to speak. As you know, we've had, over the last several meetings, we've had different SAC chairs present the initiatives that have been taking place in our district over periods of time. So, Stephanie, would you like to share some of the initiative that has taken place from the SAC committee at Alliance?
Yeah, I'll share just briefly. So it's such a beautiful day, but we were really, really fortunate to receive one of the pro grants. And this year we opted to do something a little bit different. So we partnered with Les Compagnons de Franc-Closière. And as a French immersion school, we've engaged, like the staff have engaged with them a fair bit for like a Carnavaliance, bringing a lot of the French culture and kind of carnival initiatives to the school. So we partnered with them as SAC with the goal of kind of having like a French immersion cultural night at the school. So a lot of parents have their kiddos in French immersion, their kids are learning French. Many of the parents don't speak any of French, don't know any French whatsoever, perhaps don't have a connection to that French community that their kids are building an identity and a strong community within. So we really wanted to partner with this organization to kind of bring that community and culture to the families at Alliance, the parents, the caregivers, and the folks that are supporting these kiddos, so that they can see themselves as part of that broader community and culture at the school as well as the broader French community within the area. We had, so with Les Compagnons, they set up a series of tables with some of the different activities that they do at Carnaval. So like the taffy, there was like the button making, photos with the mascot, Madame Grenouille, as well as like the sash and a few other initiatives. So families were able to drop in at any point for a period of about within the 2-hour time frame, kind of participate in a range of the activities, hear and learn a little bit more, and get to kind of do some of the initiatives that their kids have done year over year at the school as well. We had around 80 total participants, with a really good turnout of kind of the adults and caregivers. And what was really exciting was that Principal Cadlick and our lovely admin at the school had the idea of also inviting some of the incoming families, with the goal of starting to build that community and parent engagement even before their kiddos officially start, so that they see themselves as part of that community as well. And I think that actually turned out very, very well. I know we had some friends over, and their kiddo is starting in September, and they were just telling us how great it was for their daughter to kind of get a sense of the school, for them as parents to get a sense of how they could be involved and what to expect next year. And I'm hoping that it also leads to more SAC engagement in the future. But overall, I would say it was a success. We had some learnings. I think doing it a little bit earlier in the year would be good before all that spring weather hits. But overall, I think it was quite successful. Anything you want to add?
No, you captured it all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just before we move on, I just wanted to share we had the pro-grant funds, but we also had some PIC funds that was left over. And rather than not making good use, we met as a subcommittee team with the pro-grant. S.O. Gray was involved, some of our members, and we discussed different ways of spending the money. And I just wanted to share just briefly, we purchased between 25 and 30 crew neck and hoodies that are near North District School Board for next year as incentives and prizes. We purchased all kinds of picture books and or equity books and math books and literacy books. We have a whole, all kinds of, I don't know how many, but we bought many of them. We bought 20 family passes to the YMCA day passes, as well as 10 children under 10 passes, because the parent or the family member, the parent, has to be present, and so that they get in. We also bought Science North, I believe 3 or 4 passes for families to attend at Science North. So we have a whole variety of different, call it, prizes for our SAC members who join, some giveaways during our SAC not our SAC meetings, but our parent involvement committee meetings, and or if we host a parent symposium or any of those type pieces, we have incentives to be able to support and also to promote the Near North District School Board. So I just wanted to share that because Stephanie Norrie and myself have been kind of going back and forth, and we got in right at the last minute to be able to purchase all of this. And I think we are left with $19 in our account. So I think we did a very, very good job with that. But I am certainly excited with all of that. That's going to land here at Alliance, and we'll figure out where we're going to store it in the meantime. So I just wanted to share that. I think that was great news. Anyways, moving on, discussion. So last meeting we had the board website survey results, and we deferred it to this meeting. And so I just wanted to quickly share with you some of the quick results based on the survey. So 50% of the respondents have used at the Near North District School Board website to find PIC information within the last 6 months. And while 42% have not used it, but would consider doing so knowing that they can access it. So this suggests strong interest in accessing the PIC resources online. The most sought after PIC specific resources is really around the pro-grant information, the application, and also looking at the minutes and the agenda. So even though we might not have a lot of participants in this meeting, we do know that they are looking at the information and accessing. For desired webpage content moving forward, respondents want to prioritize a PIC like a week at a glance or a PIC at a glance. They want to look at certainly seeing those agendas and the minutes there, and several other features such as the pro-grant information. They want to join, like joining instructions, how to join the PIC committee, how to access the committee. They want to look at certainly the bylaws and all of the materials that support the PIC. And open text feedback just highlights a desire for easier access. Also, such as a direct tab on the main Near North Board homepage, and suggest expanding in-person or networking opportunities for parents beyond individual schools. So we have some work. I am looking at meeting with Brett Hansen in our communication department. I already spoke to Deb Bartlett. We've been talking around that, around the web page, and what does that look like, and how do we enhance as a tool for parents, and not an entertainment site, but more a tool from the PIC committee. So I just wanted to share those results with everybody. And last but not least, just to move forward, I wanted to just sort of sum up some topics of interest that we as a PIC committee have supported parents and families and administrators with this year. And then I would like to take a few minutes for everyone to perhaps share in the chat maybe topics of interest for next year, or if administrators are on in their SAC chairs, if they have mentioned any other possible topics of interest. And it just allows us to start planning for the following year. So I just wanted to share quickly, at the beginning, we had Principal Walkling, who shared the multi-year strategic planning survey. So really understanding, getting to hear parent voice, understanding where we're at. And so just talking about looking at that multi-year strategic plan. A lot of upcoming, student well-being, equity, Indigenous education. So we had Lisa Lemurer share a lot of the wonderful things about the wellness the champions in the school, the equity coaches. She talked about truth and reconciliation and the learning sessions for staff and opportunities for students. And so that was shared at the beginning. We had, of course, Lena with mental health, who has been supporting with actually different presentations. She paired up with Chris Walkling, and they also talked about the correlation of student attendance and student achievement. So they talked about that. There was EQAO results were shared with parents. We talked about EQAO, what that looks like and feels like. We talked about the upcoming EQAO, PEARLS, so the provincial literacy or the international literacy test, as well as the system focus was shared with parents and to give them a highlight what is happening and all the wonderful things that are happening in the Near North board. Safe Schools, Emily Samuel presented at different times. She provided updates on Planet Youth, screen time and sleep patterns, a great presentation around that topic. Parents were very interested, and she also presented community culture and upholding the code of conduct, which was also really a great part of the Safe Schools initiative. We had our program, certainly our parents sharing all of the initiatives, and parents are wanting to network. They want to share. They want to hear what's happening in different schools. So having the opportunity to do so, and not to mention setting up a platform through NNDSB for parents and the SAC chairs to communicate through that platform. We had the Ministry of Education, Chris Popovich, who shared really focused on the math curriculum and the website resources. He looked at parent-friendly grade overviews, transferable skills, course descriptions and prerequisites, how to download documents, resources designed to help families understand expectations and support learning at home. So he was a great presenter, provided lots of resources. We had Nicole Lapp and Carissa Chen, who presented TVO, from TVO Media Education, and they presented TVO Learn and activities and games for students. They talked about Mathify, and which is really a lot of tutoring for our students in our province, TVO Kids programming, as well as TVO ILCs. So that was a really great presentation. We had Sandy Gaindon, who presented on behalf of our community representative, and she really focused on, she was from the North Bay Parry Sound Health Unit, and they presented really around vaccinations, dental clinic. They talked about the Planet Youth. They also talked about, sorry, I'm turning my head here, talked about lice information. As you know, that's an issue. Health professionals and partners and really healthy school programs, shared resources and their websites. We had Allison Clark and Kim Jenkins, who presented the IEPs and IPRC process this year. As you know, we had today's presentations around mental health and the secondary and elementary summer learning. So there has been a lot of information and all topics that were voiced by parents and by administrators. So I just wanted to give a quick synopsis of the great work that has been happening with the Parent Involvement Committee and all of the people that have joined to partner up, and very important that we work in collaboration together. With that being said, topics of interest for next year. If you want to unmic yourself, or you want to put it in the chat, or there's something that you wish to see or hear, or that parents have expressed to you, please share, and we will revisit come the fall. But if you have any information, please, now would be a great time to have a discussion. Amy?
I just need to scoot. I need to go
Okay.
get my daughter to soccer. I'm sorry.
Thank you for
very
joining.
much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
night, everyone.
Hey. Amanda?
I actually was just waving to Amy, but I I do have a thought. And I think maybe I've said this at a different time in PIC, but I can't remember whether it was PIC or SAC more recently. We've been talking lots as family and school community networks about those really healthy habits that contribute to well-being and cognitive health. And we keep coming back to sleep. And so I wonder about the power of inviting one of our incredibly talented pediatricians across our district to talk about really practical, or an expert that focuses in this area specifically, to talk about the benefits of quality sleep, how to achieve quality sleep. Sometimes our children have a medical condition that requires pharmacological approaches that interfere with their sleep. What can we do at school to partner with families around sleep hygiene and sleep education? And I think this is a K to 12 topic that's really relevant. We're starting to see some research around, when teenagers are really waking up and becoming alert for learning. Obviously, the amount of sleep a 4-year-old needs versus a 10-year-old versus a 16-year-old. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And I know Emily touched on it at the beginning a little bit, but it would be great to dive deep. And it could be if we are looking at next year, maybe we'll have a parent conference or some type of parent symposium. It really is around that engagement and really getting that participation, but it would be a great topic to add, right? And to have a presenter like that to join us. Other topics of interest, what parents maybe have been sharing at your SAC, or the parents, we have a few parents online now. Are there other topics of interest that you are thinking of or would like to see or hear?
I put 2 in the chat that I've been hearing from a few folks. So one being a lot of parents, like the update on all the curriculum and where to find those resources was so incredibly useful. A lot of the stuff that comes out of the Ministry of Education, the language and lingo that's used to talk about student experiences at school and what they're learning, like even some of the stuff in the decks today, like a strand. I have no clue what that is, but like something on how to understand those things, engage with that material so that you can be a confident support and advocate for your kiddos could be incredibly useful, both in terms of like if there's any updates to how education is working in the province and maybe impacts from funding adjustments and what that means practically, like something around that at the beginning of the year so that parents know what to expect and what might be different. And then also how to partner with educators and admin to really support student achievement so that we're working as a unified team. And I think filling those gaps of knowledge, lingo, language, so that we are really speaking to the understanding that parents are coming in with, especially those of us who have zero experience in education.
Thank you. Great. Any other thoughts or comments? Is that Rebecca? Hi, Rebecca. Nice to see you again.
Yes, thanks for having us. I just wanted to share, and Trisha's on here too, and Trisha is our SAC chair at MT Davidson. But we're already talking ahead about what we might propose for a PIC grant next year. And I thought that it's a great topic for all families, and it's around risky play. So we're looking at sort of a guest speaker coming. We had a phenomenal turnout. We brought back Catherine Martenko to speak about Childhood Unplugged. We had a really engaged audience that we've never had a turnout like that. So we're excited, and we were trying to think like, what else can we share with families? And I think we live in a really bubble wrapped society. And I think there's a lot of fear, especially with social media and the access to all of this information, right? So I'm just thinking that something around risky play might be a great topic to help families maybe feel more comfortable in allowing their children to play more freely and knowing how important that is for their development. So just a thought that I thought I'd share.
It's a great topic. It's a wonderful topic. Absolutely. Any other thoughts and/or ideas? One idea that was brought up from another parent, and actually through one of our surveys, was AI. And what does AI look like in our educational system? And what are the safety measures, the ethics behind it, and how do we support, embrace, but not replace, not replace humans, right? And what does that look like and feel like from a safety plan, from an ethical plan, from a lot? So that was brought up as well. Amanda Beans said, let me just see, Mapleview Elk educators have been digging into this area of research. Are you talking outdoor or AI, Amanda? The elk classes at Alliance?
Thank you. I'm sorry. It was definitely risky play.
Yes, yes.
And it looks like Alliance too. It's pretty awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
I always love chaperoning those events. Yeah.
So,
I mean, the AI one, just to echo, would be really fascinating to me, especially just considering, like, for our family, our household, for example, as our daughter gets a little older, she's more likely to be exposed to screens and internet access to a higher degree at school than she is at home. So, like, what does that look like? What does that mean? What tools are they engaging with? And then, what do I do? How do I support that learning? How do I continue to maintain barriers? How do I help kiddos understand and engage with that? And then, like, what if someone really disagrees with one of those tools, right? What does that look like if there's like a conscientious objection? I would be very fascinated in an AI chat.
thank you. Trisha had identified school cash online programs. And I don't think from there, I think that's all I see in the chat aside from, okay. This is our last, opportunity. We will revisit this in the fall. I think it really drives our learning, our committee in the work that has been done and will continue to be. With that being said, S.O. Gray, I know that I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm wondering if you would like to close us off, being the superintendent of PIC and just being an inspiration.
Goodness, an inspiration. Well, thank you. First of all, I really want to thank everybody for participating this year. As I said in my earlier welcoming remarks, it has been a very successful year, and I'm so pleased that we were able to support so many pro-grant projects across the board and so many unique ideas. It made me feel very proud that we had SAC teams and alongside their principals who were able to really know their communities and their community needs and provide them with such relevant and engaging activities with such success. I mean, there was a couple of schools who sent me a message saying they had almost 100% participation. That is just phenomenal, and it makes this work so rewarding. I also have to continue to say thank you to Kyla for her work in supporting and bringing in all the various presenters that we've had this year. I think of any year, I feel like we had such a variety, not just at the board level, but from provincial means as well. And thank you to all of you for providing all of these amazing ideas, because without the families, we can't respond in a meaningful way. So thank you so much for, taking the time to be here, but also taking the risk to send us messages, to, comment in the chat, to unmute and have the conversation. It's for us as a school board, this is meant to be a partnership. And a partnership is not going to be strong unless we have parents who engage with us. And I felt really positive about this year. So thank you so much. And with that, I'm probably not going to see some of you for a while. So I wish you a really wonderful summer, a great rest. I'm going to call it spring because I feel like we haven't really hit any real warm, truly warm weather yet. But I'm looking forward to that. I hope the bugs don't get us here in Northern Ontario. And I wish you a wonderful summer, and I look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Thank you. Madam Chair?
Well, and with that, we will officially adjourn our meeting at 7:27 p.m. and hope to see you all in the fall.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's been a real pleasure.
Thanks, Kyla. Thanks, Melanie. Take care. Stephanie, bye-bye.
Thank you, Kim.